From Andrew Bynum, who threw his career away for a few minutes with a coach's wife, to Derek Fisher, who tried to steal Matt Barnes's wife and children right from under his nose. In this video, we'll look at all the times basketball stars slept with their coaches' wives and more. Starting with Andrew Bynum. In December 2013, the basketball world was rocked by one of the most explosive rumors to ever emerge from an NBA locker room. Bynum was suspended by the Cleveland Cavaliers indefinitely for conduct detrimental to the team, but the official reason given by the organization was just the tip of the iceberg. Behind closed doors, whispers began circulating about something far more scandalous than poor practice habits or attitude problems.
Okay.
And they saying that he was suspended for sleeping with one of the coaches' wives. Not the head coach, one of the assistant coaches.
Rumor that Andrew Bynum was suspended by the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2013 for allegedly sleeping with the wife or fiancée of assistant coach Jamal Mosley surfaced from sources like TZ Owens and Media Takeout.
Andrew Bynum.
Right.
He's, right now, according to sources, he's on a trading block.
Right.
He's been suspended indefinitely.
Right.
The allegations painted a picture of the ultimate betrayal, a player not just disrespecting his coach, but allegedly crossing the most sacred line by pursuing his coach's wife. The story spread like wildfire through social media and sports blogs, capturing the attention of fans who couldn't believe what they were hearing. The team and Mosley denied the allegations, and the rumor was largely dismissed as unverified speculation due to unreliable sources. Bynum's suspension was more likely tied to his disruptive behavior, such as shooting every time he got the ball in practice and mocking coaches, as reported by Yahoo Sports and Bleacher Report. No concrete evidence supported the affair claim, and it eventually faded without confirmation. Bynum's case was one of a kind, and he never fully recovered from it. Other players learned from his mistakes and steered clear of their coaches' wives. However, some were bold enough to commit even more devastating betrayals against their teammates, going after their wives. Tony Parker was alleged to have had an affair with Erin Barry, the wife of his San Antonio Spurs teammate Brent Barry, between 2004 and 2008. Picture this devastating scenario. Two men who trusted each other completely on the basketball court, executing championship-winning plays with precision and celebrating titles together, while behind the scenes, one was allegedly betraying the other in the most intimate and personal way possible. The irony was heartbreaking. These were teammates who had shared the joy of multiple NBA championships and celebrated together in victory parades, yet their bond was being secretly destroyed by deception. This wasn't a brief moment of weakness or a single poor decision made in the heat of passion. The affair, primarily through sexting, contributed to the dissolution of both Parker's marriage to Eva Longoria and the Barrys' marriage. For 4 long years, Parker allegedly maintained inappropriate contact with his teammate's wife, conducting secret communications and developing a relationship that would ultimately destroy 2 families and leave lasting scars on everyone involved. The San Antonio Spurs weren't just any team. They were the absolute gold standard for professionalism, character, and doing things the right way in professional basketball. Under the masterful guidance of Coach Greg Popovich and anchored by the quiet, dignified leadership of Tim Duncan, the Spurs had built an organizational culture based on selflessness, sacrifice, and putting team success above individual desires or personal gratification. To have this kind of personal betrayal and scandalous behavior unfold within their ranks was absolutely devastating to everything the organization represented and had worked so hard to build over decades of careful culture development. Parker's marriage to Eva Longoria had been one of the most high-profile and glamorous celebrity relationships in all of sports. Longoria, the stunning star of the hit television show Desperate Housewives, was a regular fixture at Spurs games and seemed to represent the perfect blend of Hollywood glamour and basketball success. When news of the affair finally broke and became public knowledge, it didn't just destroy their seemingly perfect marriage, it created a media circus that followed both of them for years afterward, turning their personal pain and family destruction into public entertainment. For Brent Barry, the betrayal was particularly cruel and devastating on multiple levels. Here was a veteran player who had given everything to the Spurs organization, a skilled shooter and unselfish team player who perfectly embodied the selfless basketball philosophy that made San Antonio so successful. Barry opted out of his Spurs contract following the incident, essentially ending his tenure with the team, where he had hoped to finish his career on a high note and perhaps win another championship. The professional consequences extended far beyond the personal relationships involved, affecting the very foundation of the Spurs' success. Team chemistry, which had been the cornerstone of San Antonio's championship runs, was irreparably damaged. How do you run intricate plays that require perfect timing, trust, and communication when one player has allegedly betrayed another in such a deeply personal way? Derek Fisher. The third case on our list demonstrates how quickly personal relationships can escalate into public warfare, creating one of the most explosive and violent confrontations in recent NBA history. Fisher began a relationship with Gloria Govin, Matt Barnes' ex-wife, after their divorce. Technically speaking, this wasn't adultery since Govin and Barnes were already legally divorced, but the circumstances surrounding the relationship and the way it developed made it feel like a profound betrayal to Barnes, who still harbored deep emotional connections to his ex-wife. The situation was complicated by several factors that made it particularly explosive and emotionally charged. Fisher was significantly older than Govin, and his long-standing reputation as a veteran leader and respected figure throughout the NBA made his involvement with a former teammate's ex-wife seem like a serious violation of professional ethics and the unwritten brotherhood code that exists among players. Barnes, known throughout the league for his fierce intensity, physical style of play, and unwavering loyalty to those he cared about, viewed Fisher's actions as a direct and disrespectful violation, not just of their personal relationship, but of the sacred bonds of brotherhood that were supposed to exist among NBA players, regardless of team affiliations. When Barnes discovered that Fisher was at Govin's home, spending time with his ex-wife and children, the situation reached a boiling point that shocked the basketball world. The relationship caused a notable physical altercation when Barnes confronted Fisher at Govin's home. Picture the intense scene. Barnes, driven by a potent mixture of anger, betrayal, and protective paternal instincts, drives to his ex-wife's house to confront Fisher about what he perceived as a fundamental violation of every unwritten rule about respect and appropriate boundaries among professional athletes. The confrontation that followed wasn't just a heated argument or exchange of harsh words between former colleagues. This was an actual physical altercation between two grown men, both accomplished professional athletes. Both fathers trying to protect their families, fighting over relationships and respect in the most primal and visceral way possible. The incident quickly became public knowledge, turning what should have been a private family matter into a spectacle that was analyzed, discussed, and debated across sports media platforms and social networks worldwide. The incident led to legal proceedings and ongoing tension between Fisher and Barnes, though they were no longer teammates at the time. The NBA front office found itself in the extremely uncomfortable position of having to address the violent behavior of current and former players whose personal conflicts were spilling into public view and potentially damaging the league's carefully crafted image and reputation. The legal ramifications added another complex layer to an already complicated and emotionally charged situation. Restraining orders, police reports, court proceedings, and potential criminal charges turned what started as basketball court drama into a legitimate legal battle that would follow both men for years, affecting their reputations, relationships, and professional standing throughout the league. What makes this story particularly fascinating and somewhat redemptive is how it ultimately played out over the long term, defying expectations and conventional wisdom. Despite all the drama, controversy, public conflict, and legal battles, the relationship between Fisher and Govin proved to be genuine, serious, and lasting. Fisher and Govin later married in 2021,